So if you had a fund that, I'll give you an example. You had a fund, this is Hot Shot Fund, let's call it Simp Asset Management. And you're following Simp's PM on Twitter, you see all his tweets, you really love Simp, and you become a Simp, and Simp Asset Management is your favorite hedge fund. And you go into their 13F, and you see they have their long one stock, SIMP. And that's it. Their AUM is $5 billion, and they have $1 billion in Simp. What's wrong with this picture? You go into your Robinhood and you buy $10,000 of Simp. Well, I think you just made a big mistake. Why? Well, you don't know what the rest of Simp is all about. In fact, 13Fs don't require them to show all their positions, but they could very well be short. You don't see this. They're short $10 billion of SP, well, let's say they're short $10 billion of ES1. This is the E-mini future. Well, you don't have to report futures on 13Fs. So you don't know that they're actually just short the market with all their capital. And they're really good macro traders. So they're long Simp because, I don't know, the guy's brother works there or something. But they really think the market's going to collapse. So they're actually happy when Simp goes down. They want Simp and every other stock to go down. So when Simp goes down and your $10,000 becomes $3,000, and Simp is had the best year in its history, you feel kind of stupid. There's a really good guy on Instagram that sort of talks about that. So anyway, the point is, don't just trust these 13Fs. I mean, obviously the company is long the stock, but they could be sold out of it next week. You don't know. And it could be at a firm like this. Again, a lot of smart people at this company, but every office has an idiot, right? And it's not always obvious who that idiot is. And that could be the one stock that idiot really likes. Out of 10 traders at the company, one of them's bad. They just don't know it yet. And they'll be fired next year or the year after. But in the meantime, they're going to lose a bunch of money in one of these stocks. Don't be the guy that buys the stock, and you don't know who at that firm. Not every stock at 0.72 is personally sanctioned by Steve Cohen. Not every stock at Citadel is personally sanctioned by Ken Griffin. In fact, almost none of them are. They're just betting on these bettors. And the bettors could be wrong or could be right. I know a guy that went to 0.72, and he was fired within 3 months for making bad bets. Could you imagine copying his trades in 0.72's filings? And then there's guys at 0.72 that are almost always right, but you can't tell from the 13F which is which. So 13Fs are a big waste of time, but I'm only pointing them out because, one, people are very interested in them, looking at things like this file, these league tables. This is one fund, Lone Pine, that I admired quite a lot, but it's kind of fallen from grace. It used to have the Midas touch. It used to never be wrong. And they've just had a very, I wouldn't say poor, but they haven't had performance like their old selves in a long time. And that's something that's really interesting, right? This is my favorite hedge fund for so long, and it's just kind of been kind of meh. These guys were in Google early. They were the best hedge funds ever. And it's just sort of not been that great. It hasn't been bad, but it's not been the legendary performance that they used to have. So again, just not a good idea to follow these too closely. If you're in the hedge fund game, it's a bit different, right? You know a lot of people at these firms, and you're interested in that for that reason. But if you're, just Joe Blow, this is a waste of time. Now, here I have listed 150 hedge funds. I haven't even gotten around to linking all the filings and sorting them and this and that. It's just not a good use of my time. But you can still get that file on my GitHub if you'd like. So let's get back to reality, maybe. Biotech. A lot of interesting things happening here. Probably more interesting than Moderna, which I was saying a lot because Moderna's got some interesting things too. But the herpes vaccine is kind of interesting to me. The COVID stuff, I just don't understand. I don't think mRNA will be useful for cancer vaccines. But you can see there's a bunch of interesting. I mean, these are kind of memey ribomabs. These are RNA encoded antibodies. Well, I'm not sure that's you can always just give antibody, right? Ribo-encoded cytokines or mRNA-encoded cytokines. So some of these are like pretty unique therapeutic modalities, but they're also like TLR7 has been used many times in cancer. It's just not worked over and over and over again. It's just not worked. There's this new bivalent vaccine. I guess they're selling, but Pfizer's really bullish on their ability to continue to sell COVID vaccine, which to me is a little surprising given COVID's kind of disappearing. So again, I'm just looking for one or two numbers here. Oh, there's an, okay. And I got to get back to programming. Some of that stuff I can't stream. But if you're just tuning in, we're hanging out, talking about some hedge funds, talking about stocks. The one stock I really like is NTLA, Intilia. It's kind of like a mid-cap biotech stock. They're doing CRISPR, probably the only company doing CRISPR the right way, I would think. But got risk statements here. I don't think I'm going to get the right number from this. Some European companies don't update their shares outstanding every quarter. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but as long as they don't do an offering, then you know what their shares outstanding are. But there's other ways to get it or back into it, but I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm just going to update this real quick. So it looks like they have 13 billion in cash. That's in euros. And on debt side, 967. What's the latest Biotech stock price? I don't even follow them on here, I don't think. Just pop it down here. $131. That's kind of been a bit of a dog.